So, show of hands. Does anyone remember the 1955 Disney classic, Lady and the Tramp? Where it was first released on DVD in March 20th, 2012? If so, what if I told you that I discovered something surrounding the topic? I was around YouTube watching source filmmaker videos till I got an email from my old friend. I won't mention him due to reasonable reasons, but he said that I should watch this. Now, my friend posts on YouTube found footage of bizarre shit like Squidward's suicide or Morena Mortigard Glesgorv. I swear, he likes this kind of stuff, and people, at my workplace specifically, look at him and, well, knew he was a bit odd. Sometimes he posts his stuff on YouTube as well, like a monkey shitting giant rats, or people being eaten by giant spiders. And as he told me about this email, it made me think that he made this just to freak me out. But the letter said that he didn't. And when I looked, it was simply a video file under the name SiandAm.wmv. As memory serves, Si and Am are Aunt Sarah's twin Siamese cats, and minor antagonists in Disney's 1955 film. When I clicked on it, the video started with the same setting from Lady and the Tramp, only in another area. The thing that was striking was that Aunt Sarah's home reminded me of the Haunted Mansion. Only it had 4 angel statues in her gardens, 3 birdhouses, and 2 garden gnomes. Si and Am were watching a teenager entering the backyard with his buddies through a window. The boy decides that it's, quote-unquote, time for a home improvement. The animation in this video was indeed like any other Disney animation style, only in this video it was like as if it was made on Newgrounds. Like it was made by someone who you'd see on YouTube, right? Si and Am watched as the teens grab out paint cans and brushes and went to paint on the house. But the 2 Siamese cats grabbed the 2 gnomes and threw them on some of the teenagers' heads, knocking them unconscious. The teens then woke up strapped to 2 wooden beds and were being stretched until they were ripped apart. It took me a second to make the connection, but it hit me that they were strapped on torture racks, and that they were pulled apart by Si and Am. The teens had already fled, and Aunt Sarah went out and checked outside, but she saw nothing but the paint buckets that the teenagers had brought out. The garden gnomes were shattered after the impact on the 2 boys' skulls. Now, I decided to brush it off as par for the course. A messed up video that was my friend's territory. And I continued watching. It roughly cut to a still image of my house. Scrubbing the timeline, I noticed that this lasted around 20 minutes. I looked out the window at where the photographer would have been, but there was no one there. I thought to myself, what the hell was wrong with my friend? And why would he send me this? I had trouble falling asleep that night. I mean, I just couldn't. I ended up sneaking downstairs in the middle of the night and sitting in the kitchen with the light on and a huge supply of caffeinated drinks. The morning soon came, and I decided to watch the rest of the video. I wished I would have just left it. I mean, I was a huge fan of Disney as a kid, but I didn't know what to make of this. It then roughly cut to a still image of SiandAm staring at the viewer, and after a while I realized that it wasn't a still image. It was a video of SiandAm sitting motionless and staring directly at the viewer. I mean, they would periodically turn their heads as if cracking their stiff necks, but they would never blink. They did this the majority of the video, which I checked the time code again. It was roughly 10 minutes and 30 seconds left. SiandAm closed their eyes tightly while still staring, and then opened them to reveal large, glassy, fish-like eyes. I jumped out of my skin as they did this, and I can hear what sounded like a high-pitched drilling sound breaking the silence. I exited out and placed the laptop inside the drawer. That night I woke up in what could only be described as conscious sleepwalking. Meaning I got up in the middle of the night and did something while being fully conscious and aware, but still drawn to do the thing by some sudden urge. I subconsciously took out my laptop, clicked on the WMV file. I sat down and was suddenly awakened from my sleep, and I noticed that I was in front of the computer, about to watch the video. I wanted to exit out and go back upstairs, but a strange urge or force told me that I needed to watch the final minutes of this video. The video resumed with SiandAm looking at a 9-year-old boy falling asleep through the window, and knew the boy's parents were going to a fancy club. They silently sneak in and quietly say to each other that wherever there's a sleeping boy, there's milk nearby. They walk on top of the child, who is still in bed, and Si brought with him a large carving knife. He asked Am to place the boy's arm over the bed to him, which he did. Si then begins to slowly slice a thin layer of flesh from the boy's arm, like he was peeling a potato. The boy woke up by the sound of peeling flesh and looked over to see his own blood immediately beginning to flow, the room filling with the sounds of his screams. Am just watched calmly, as if he wanted to actually see the rest, and Si continued to slice layer after layer of flesh from the boy's arm until he hit bone. The boy was wailing at this point, and I was in absolute shock. I felt like I would violently throw up at any moment. The boy's arm was drenched in blood, which had spilled onto the floorboards, creating a puddle. Si and Am lapped up the blood with pleasure on their faces, and the video finally ended. This morning I went back home from work, wanting to record the video so that I could post it on YouTube, but I found my house to be ransacked. I knew what happened. My laptop was nowhere in sight. I thought the burglars would sell my laptop for a quick buck, but when they looked at that WMV file, boy, oh boy, will they be surprised. Now keep in mind that even though this story is Disney related, let this be a warning to all of you out there reading this, that if you ever come across some bizarre episode of a cartoon or a sitcom, one that you don't recognize. Never view it. Watching the episode would either ruin your childhood, drive you insane, scare you to death. It's just not worth seeing. It's not coming back. The WMV file is not coming back, and I guess this was a miracle. Whatever it was. Even though my house was now back the way it was, I got on my phone and demanded my friend to tell me what demon possessed him to send me this goddamn video. He said that I must have not finished reading the rest of the email. Because in his words, he said that he wanted to get rid of it. He found this video while searching through the web, and he somehow came across it on accident. He wanted me to delete it, get rid of it, not let anyone see it. I told him everything. And he was somehow pleased. That getting robbed was a bad thing, but he said, at least it's gone forever, wherever it is. But the video is still out there. And if you see a video under the name SiandAm anywhere on YouTube, on Google, please provide some sort of proof. A video, a snapshot of it, whatever. To prove the world that I did not imagine or dream it. I mean, for God's sakes, don't watch it, but just give me a frame. It's for a lucky cause, because it's been haunting me for weeks now, and it's been driving me crazy. I keep having nightmares of SiandAm mutilating me in bed and waking up sweating like a pig. Let them know that I'm not crazy. Whatever this thing is, it's far too real to be a hoax.